Yeah, good morning, and hey now, PASW staff, clients, and friends joining us. Welcome to Wednesday's class. We're halfway through the week, and so far it's been a lot of fun. Your film scoring assignment, our film scoring assignment, is due Friday. So if you still are thinking about it, get them in tonight by midnight for Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece 2001 for the scene that we're going to score. So that should be fun. Yesterday we went to Malta off the Mediterranean Sea and saw that Robert Altman's beautiful little musical comedy, Popeye. And that was fun. So today we're going to do part 3 of my promise to you. We had our 100th show a week ago from today. And I thought that that would be a nice time to share some of me, my music most importantly, and just a little bit about my life, just to share some. And I think it was okay. I think it was painless. So, like I said, we might do a few of these kind of sporadically. So we're going to do one today. We're going to do an LA class tomorrow. So there's just so much work to do, so much fun, so much more fun we're going to have. So, okay, so let's do part 3 of Alexander. So I'm trying to think of where we left off of me complaining. I grew up in a musical house, obviously. My dad, a composer and trumpet player. My mom, a piano player and educator, a wonderful woman. My brother and sister, very talented, wonderful people. My brother-in-law, Andy, is a fantastic actor. And he's been in the family for, 15, 20 years or something. Less than 20. So, okay, so I told you about my horrible, tremendous time in elementary school because of my anxiety. So I have horrible anxiety and OCD, and which results in depression. So it's anxiety, it's anxiety all the time. Then it gets in a loop, and then it results in kind of depression. Now, it's much better than so much better than how I used to be. I didn't know those terms growing up. I didn't know what that meant, and it wasn't my parents' fault. It wasn't really anybody's fault. It was just something that I had. So that was my mental disability, and along with that, I'm hypersensitive. So of course, everything in the world is going to be scary and not make sense. And I'm sharing that with you because I'm sure a lot of us have those feelings, which are fine to have. We get through them with friends, with therapy, with medication, all those things. So I'm so happy to leave this horrible place in Southgate, Stanford Elementary School. I can finally go to a school where they speak English. Not that English. I'm finally happy to go to a school where I can understand, most of the material. And that's, I go to John Burroughs Middle School. You've seen this. There's tons of, films and television shows that film there. Teen Wolf's filmed there, my favorite, and lots of others. So I go to 6th grade there, and we talked about my opera and music that I'd written 11 to 12. So by my second, when I get into 6th grade, I'm 12. So I don't write as much music because I'm getting more into guitar, and I'm still playing trumpet because my parents obviously think that, rightly so, music lessons are important. So I'm still playing trumpet, but I'm getting more into guitar and songwriting, and getting into Jimi Hendrix a lot, and become obsessed with Jimi Hendrix, and Nirvana, and Weezer, and all of these wonderful grunge bands that I just think are just so rebellious and cool and great. So, but then in junior high, I have my first music teacher that's incredibly important and a wonderful human being, gentleman, super brilliant and intelligent and kind, Amos DeLone. And I meet Amos when I'm in 6th grade. And he's my junior high music teacher. I still talk to him. He's a wonderful person. He taught me a lot of about. I played in the orchestra in the jazz band there. He really fostered my soloing and me wanting to play jazz trumpet, because he was a jazz saxophonist. He is a jazz saxophonist and composer himself. So he really was supportive in me. I remember very vividly hearing him play jazz loud in his classroom after school one time. He was playing Take 5. And I remember thinking, well, I heard this song at some point in my life in my house, but I don't know the name of it. I don't know anything about it. And I was just like, man, this guy's cool. He's playing some really good music. And I remember that afternoon so well, hearing Take 5 blasted. And I was in the hallway down from his, and he was just, cleaning up the band room or whatever. Such a great memory, because I was like, this guy knows about jazz. And I'm starting to be tempted into the jazz world, even though I'm trying to get girls playing guitar. And I don't know if that's PC to say, but that's just the truth. If you remember in our Eric Dolphy class months ago, New Year's Eve, 7th grade is when I fall in love with jazz, after listening to an Eric Dolphy solo that my dad and my sister are playing for me in the car. And after hearing that solo, my mind was blown, and I fell completely in love with jazz. And by 8th grade, as you can see, I'm a little bit more serious here. And I realized that all of the rock star kind of the rock star dream is kind of fading. I'm not into it as much. I just am consumed with my Uncle Ricky's influence, my dad's influence, Mr. DeLone's influence. These people are really saying, they're introducing me to a world of jazz, and they're inspiring me to get better, to be a better trumpet player, to get better at practicing my horn. And so I spend 6-8 hours a day on weekends, or in summer mostly that long, because I had school practicing. I'd practice the trumpet all the time. You practice long tones. Do you know what long tones are? Long tones are the most boring thing in the world. You play a note for 20 minutes. You hold them. This is how you kind of develop your own sound. This is what Coltrane did, where you literally you hold notes as long as you can. You take a breath. Obviously, you're breathing. You hold them again to see if you can get a clear sound. I mean, this is the hard work they don't. That's not glamorous, and we tell you at the studio all the time that a lot of this stuff is not glamorous. You have to work so hard. So I'm putting in so much time. I'm reading Charlie Parker solos in summertime to get my sight reading better. I'm doing long tones. I'm doing scales. Still mostly all self-taught. I mean, my dad kind of gave me the fundamentals, but mostly listening by ear, playing by ear. And I get really into these books that Jamie Ebersol produced. He had a great idea. And was kind of one of the first. I mean, there was Music Minus One earlier, but he had a great idea to, where he came up with this series of accompanying musicians that wanted to play. Because if you're a jazz musician, you need a band to play with you, right? A few guys at least. Well, he came out with something on cassettes, I think originally, but also CDs later, where it was a Music Minus One. It was Jamie Ebersold's thing, where they would play jazz songs, but they would, the melody and the horn, the lead part would be taken out. So it's like playing with a jazz combo. So you press track 1, and there would be a standard, but there would be no melody because you were playing the melody. And, this was just amazing for jazz musicians. So that would be my fun. I would practice for hours, and then at the end, I would be able to jam, in my room by myself with the CD player. So that was really exciting. Okay, so and then I start writing jazz songs. I start writing songs that are, that are important to me. And right around 8th grade, probably almost going into high school, I see a movie called Pal Joey. Pal Joey is a really great film with Sinatra and Kim Novak. And after I see this, I really start getting back into composition. I really want to start only not classical and not opera music. I really want to start writing jazz music. So as I'm practicing my horn all the time, seeing Pal Joey and hearing those wonderful songs by Richard Rodgers. Richard Rodgers, as we know, wrote Oklahoma. We did a whole class. We've talked about Richard Rodgers several times. Seeing this movie, I remember seeing it and being blown away by every song. Was just a gem. It was just beautiful. And I thought, hey, maybe I could write a song like that. Maybe I could write songs like that. So I started sitting down at the piano, writing more melodic jazz songs and songs that that were more personal to me all of a sudden. Whereas earlier, before, my songs were kind of academic, where they weren't. It was more like I was just learning how to write for all the instruments. But this was sitting at the piano writing melodic songs. And we'll stop there. So before I get into Hamilton and my second teacher, Mr. Taguchi, so we'll talk about that next week. But this is the transition from writing Stregonona and kind of music that's kind of not, it's ambitious and precocious, which is great, but it's not really personal music. And then until I get to 8th grade, into 9th grade, is when I start really writing music songs more, jazz standards, in the trying to write like Richard Rodgers, or in the songbook, era. It's me kind of going into that. So thanks for keeping up and paying attention. With this stuff, it's kind of going to be my evolution of again, just wanting to share with you guys. Okay, have a great rest of the day, and we'll have another class tomorrow, and then Friday's film scoring results for 2001. So much fun, way too much fun we're going to be having. Okay, love you, miss you, see you tomorrow.